Coming up on UCF Nightly News, 3 UCF athletes are facing criminal charges, and right now 2 of them are suspended indefinitely. We're asking UCF Athletics how they handle these situations.
And next, 2 UCF students are launching a new business. See how their inspiration came from a tragedy.
And in sports, see how the women's soccer team played last night.
Nightly News starts in 30 seconds.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Olivia Parsons.
And I'm Jessica Herman. Today is Friday, October 19th, 2018.
3 UCF athletes are bringing attention to UCF, but not in a good way. They face individual charges, all involving battery, and now 2 of them await their court dates. I found out what happens to these players in the meantime and spoke to one victim who says he feared for his life.
Football linebacker Demetrius Mays, cheerleader DeJuan Carter, and basketball center Rokas Olvidas, all arrested within the last month and facing different battery charges. Mays is accused of raping a drunk woman in one of the UCF dorms. Carter is accused of putting a teammate in a chokehold and touching 2 women inappropriately. And 6'11" Olvidas is accused of grabbing his roommate by the neck and throwing him across the room. We talked to that roommate who didn't want to be on camera.
He turned me around and choked me and picked me up against the closet door, and he then threatened to kill me.
After hearing what Olvidas told us, we reached out to UCF Athletics and they weren't willing to go on camera, but a spokesperson from the department told Nightly News in a written statement they're committed to representing UCF properly in the community.
But Olvidas says this wasn't the case. He told Nightly News in a text message, quote, "A boy's life lay in balance over a shove." According to the UCF Student Athlete Handbook, any student athlete arrested and charged with a felony or any crime will be suspended automatically from practice and playing privileges until the charges are dropped. Right now, Carter is no longer a member of the cheer squad, but Mays and Olvidas are suspended indefinitely. If any of these men are convicted, per the athlete handbook, they will be permanently dismissed from their respective teams. But if their individual charges are dropped, they could return to the playing field. Mays is expected to be in court next Thursday, and we will be there, but it's unclear when the other 2 athletes will face a judge.
And we'll continue to cover these ongoing investigations over the next couple of weeks. We've reached out to Carter's lawyer to ask for a court date, and so far, no attorneys are listed in Olvidas's case. The second we get that information, of course, we'll get you those updates.
The Knight's Leadership Series is working on ways to improve relationships between students and police officers on campus. Yesterday, Nightly News got the opportunity to check out this event and see what was going on. This open forum allowed students to discuss their thoughts and opinions about UCF police. Students played games with officers and staff to break the ice. Operations Major Officer Christine Jajikos was in attendance. She says when students look at her, they already have a certain perception about her. Jajikos says she wishes more students would just engage with her, learn more about her.
I love to engage in students because you guys are so freaking smart, and I've been through my years of college, so I learn something every day I talk to a student. I usually say hi to them. Sometimes I get, what did I do? But most of the UCF students are really receptive.
UCF police are encouraging students to reach out. Their goal is to strengthen the relationship with students and the community.
2 UCF students took their friendship, love of fitness, and knowledge of finance to the test. They're now in the process of launching their own business. Nightly News reporter Emily Anderson tells us what inspired them to start this project.
He saved my life.
Bradley Gillis and Jake Adler have been friends since their early days of high school. Being physically active has always been a big part of their lives.
Grew up in the weight room. My dad owns a gym back home, and we still, whenever we're back home, still worked out there.
Once in college, they became roommates, fraternity brothers, and coworkers. One night on their way home from work, their worlds got turned upside down.
About 1.5 years ago, I got in a motorcycle accident.
Gillis is now a double amputee, using 2 prosthetic legs. But with Adler's help, he wasn't down for the count for long.
Didn't really stop anything. We got back in the gym as soon as we could, and he's still been my gym partner, and he literally hands me the weights now, and we start, just doing our same thing.
Their love of fitness and endurance through this tough time inspired Radflex, their co-founded company that sells fitness products. This next adventure is about more than just fitness for them.
Only going to put out stuff that we would use, and that's the only things we're going to put our product, like our label on.
And this journey has inspired them to eventually branch out their brand to help people just like Radley.
Moving into prosthetics, maybe not even like prosthetic legs and stuff, but like accessories and stuff that'll help with like people's everyday lives and like reduce the inconveniences.
And inspire others to live by their motto, no excuses. In Orlando, Emily Anderson, UCF Nightly News.
Radflex's official product is expected to launch within the next week. To learn more about their products, you can go ahead and give them a follow on their Instagram at RadFlexFitness.
The UCF African Student Organization held a financial literacy meeting to teach their members how to manage their finances. 21% of black students with bachelor's degree default on their loans. This report is much higher than Hispanics at 8% and white degree holders at 3%. At their meeting, ASO members learned about building credit and paying back debt. Financial aid director Karima Manzel says this rate will decrease when black students have more resources to learn about loan payment.
Then that student may not have a support system that provides them with the tools to navigate college or post-graduation.
Loan default makes credit scores lower, and lower credit scores means it's harder for people to get a credit card and land a job.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and one UCF Greek organization put a twist on raising awareness and money to the UCF community. The Iota Beta chapter of Sigma Lambda Gamma hosted the 7th annual Ping Pong tournament on Wednesday. Students were able to battle against their friends for a great cause. Every student that participated at this event donated money to the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation. That foundation website says they are the largest nonprofit source of funding for the fight against breast cancer. UCF student Gabby Garcia says the tournament is important to the community.
I think it's like really good to support events like these because they do so much for the community in terms of like spreading awareness and also the money that it raises for the cause. And it's just like a fun way to get the entire community involved.
Sigma Lambda Gamma exceeded its goal of $50 at the tournament.
Imagine a social media platform just for mental health services. One company has already made this a reality at some colleges. UAC College is an online mental health platform. It began at Colorado State University 3 years ago. UAC College is both anonymous and personalized. The portal is at 21 colleges. UCF isn't one of them. Freshman Sarvane Owens Tatum is in her first semester at UCF. She feels the platform would be helpful when it comes to self-care and recognizing mental health issues.
I think it'll give college students an outlet to be able to communicate about the things that they may be dealing with, and they might not be able to feel comfortable doing it in person, and then they'll be able to meet with other people who might be experiencing the same things and discuss these topics and discuss ways that other people get through it, and it'll help them get through it as well.
While UCF does not have UAC College, students can complete an online mental health screening.
Mid-October, and it still feels like summer's just kicking off.
Nathaniel, please tell me it's going to get at least a little cooler out here.
It actually will get a little cooler, but we'll get back to that because right now it's still a little warm outside. Let's take you a look outside at campus from earlier this morning. So as you can see from our shot up top of Career Services Building, you can see it's a nice cloud coverage outside over CFE Arena and Memory Mall. Students were able to get to class on time, be able to enjoy the sunny weather outside, longboard around and get some hammocks on Memory Mall. And now we're going to take a look at our current conditions. Right now temperature is at 81 degrees with 82% humidity, so it's a little bit thick, but not as thick as it used to be. Winds are moving east at 6 miles per hour with a 40% chance of rain. Now you'll see a little more cloud coverage today in the afternoon because we have those rain chances coming up. But coming up after the break, I'll show you our tropics update and a red tide alert. Back to the desk.
We investigated if wages on the UCF campus are now on track with national trends.
And next, is hurricane season finally over?
We'll be right back. workers in America are finally starting to see modest benefits from the growing economy. The latest Labor Department report had wages growing at 3.3%. But are workers on the UCF campus seeing that boost in their paychecks? Well, Nightly News reporter Alex Storer has more on the state of wages on our campus.
Senior theater major Lily Linhart has to work more than 40 hours a week at one business on campus to make ends meet.
A lot of my friends have help from their parents, so I do feel like I'm that friend who's like never really available because I have to support myself.
According to information collected by MIT, a living wage for a single adult in the Orlando area is $11.86.
But the reality is more like $9 an hour for student workers I talked to, some of whom work for the university, others for on-campus restaurants.
And that's not to mention the other blue-collar workers on campus. One custodian I spoke with, who didn't want me to use her name, says the $25,000 she makes per year cleaning Colburn Hall and the Performing Arts Center is not enough.
I can afford a good vacation that I think I deserve it because I work very hard. I don't think they have planned to raise our pay. So it's hard.
A spokeswoman for UCF Human Resources says the university is continuously looking at ways to improve employee compensation, and also the UCF has no control over the wages paid at private businesses on campus like Qdoba and Chili's. In Orlando, Alex Storer, UCF Nightly News.
Despite recent trends nationwide, the Florida legislature has resisted changes to the state minimum wage, which could give workers on campus the boost they're looking for.
Just over a week after Michael, the tropics are starting to quiet down.
Nathaniel Rivas is live in the studio with an update on our hurricane season.
Thanks, ladies, and that's right. Hurricane season is not over yet. We have until the end of November. But right now, the tropics are pretty quiet after having 14 named storms as recently as Hurricane Michael. Right now, as you can see, is a little bit of disturbance over here in the Caribbean, but not that much you see from our next graphic. These storms aren't really formed together, so it's not really going to make any type of storm. There's no circulation here, just a couple of isolated storms. But as I mentioned earlier, we have some other weather issues closer to home. And we currently have a red tide issue up as high as Brevard County. Now, the red tide, according to the Florida Wildlife and Fish Conservation Commission, is a red algae that's in the water, but the toxins that are released can be harmful to fish and humans. That's why you see some dead fish, and some people that have asthma issues, they could have some extra respiratory problems, and other symptoms, as you can see here, are coughing and sneezing and tearing of the eyes. So you might want to avoid the beach for a couple of days. This effect is in until Saturday afternoon, but with some cooler weather coming up in the week, I would enjoy those with some fall festivities. And coming up, I'll get you more on those cooler temperatures coming our way. Back to you, Olivia and Jessica.
Thanks, Nathaniel. And from what I've heard, probably no sweater weather in the near future. There's still hope.
Plus, find out how many adults in the U.S. eat fast food on a daily basis. We'll be right back. A group encouraging and helping sponsor girls in low-income countries is what you will find at UCF's She's the First. She's the First is a not-for-profit organization founded in August of 2012, helping to encourage young people to creatively fundraise for girl sponsorships through their online events and on-campus activities. They will be hosting I Am a Girl film screening October 25th in the Student Union.
People who regularly eat McDonald's or Taco Bell might be putting themselves at risk. A new study shows that a third of U.S. adults eat some type of fast food every day. Nightly News reporter Haley Rowland tells us more about the lasting effects of these diet choices.
2 new studies recently came out that might scare those who often find themselves in the drive-thru. The National Center for Health Statistics released data this month that 1 in 3 adults in the U.S. eats fast food every single day. And a University of Florida study suggests that 37% of Floridians are obese. So you might be asking yourself, why should I be concerned?
Anytime you have like an increase in calories, it's going to be a risk for obesity. And once you have obesity, all the other preventable diseases come along with it.
One student at UCF has a family history of obesity and has seen the health effects firsthand.
Yeah, specifically on my mom's side, I think my family struggles a lot with just obesity and eating unhealthy and being overweight, having heart problems. And so because of that, my mom is a reaction to it, never let herself get to that point. So she was always a good example.
Now, while Ernewine admits that he does still eat fast food, he limits himself to only having it once a week, and only because it's convenient to him. Dr. Nienhuis agrees that limiting how often you eat drive-through specialties is a step in a healthier direction. So while fast food may be finger-licking good, anyone who eats it every day might not be loving it or its effects later in life. In Orlando, I'm Haley Rowland, UCF Nightly News.
Dr. Nienhuis says that sometimes the best way to quit eating so much fast food is just to quit cold turkey. And there are some healthier lunch options on campus that students can enjoy.
We get you a weather update every 5 minutes.
Nathaniel Rivas is live in the studio this afternoon with details on our 5-day forecast. Hopefully some sweater weather, Nathaniel.
Thanks, ladies, and that's right, Liv. Maybe just a little bit of sweater weather, but not today. Right now, even though the summer temperatures are going down, we're still in the high 80s, maybe even the low 90s. Let's take a look at our neighbors around the state. Tallahassee right now is 87 degrees, Jacksonville is 84, Tampa and Orlando both 91 degrees for a high today, and Miami 87 degrees for a high. As we take a look at our lows, you'll see now it's in the lower 70s except for Miami. They're at 78 degrees for a low today. Jacksonville's at 70, Tallahassee at 68, and Tampa and Orlando at 74, yet again with the same exact temperature for the highs and the lows. Now as we take a look at our 5-day forecast, you'll see some of those cooler weathers that I was telling you about earlier. Saturday and Sunday we'll still have some pretty high stuff, 90s and 80s, but throughout the week we'll get to those low to mid 60s for the lows for the week. So make sure to take out a jacket with you as you go outside. And now back to the desk.
Thanks, Nathaniel. Well, the UCF football team is on the road and headed to Greenville, North Carolina. Stick around to see what Coach Josh Heupel thinks about tomorrow night's matchup.
Plus, Nightly News reporter Evan Abramson brings us the latest news on UCF's men's basketball after the team held its annual media day yesterday.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back, Knights fans. I'm Kennedy Holder. Here's what's going on in your UCF sports. When will the win stop coming for first-year head coach Josh Heupel? Well, the answer is hopefully never for the still undefeated UCF football team. Ahead of them in the AP polls losing last weekend, and after securing a huge 31-31 on the road against Memphis, the Knights are ready for the East Carolina University Pirates. UCF struggled in the first half, allowing Memphis to score all of its 30 points, but some gutsy fourth down calls and a stellar second half defensive performance earned Heupel's Knights a win. Here's what Heupel had to say about tomorrow night's matchup.
Every game's a trap game. If you don't prepare as well as you possibly can and don't go play to the best of your abilities, you're leaving it to chance. Don't leave it to chance, and that's what we talk about inside of our program. This league's too good not to go out and perform your best. If you don't, you're going to be in more than a dogfight.
Trap game or not, UCF still needs a huge blowout win tomorrow if they want any chance of moving up further in the polls. ECU is 2-4 this season. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 p.m. Now, the football team isn't the only one suffering from success. The men's basketball team will also have to deal with the pressure of being the team to beat. Nightly News reporter Evan Abramson brings us the latest on the men's team after covering yesterday's Basketball Media Day.
Well, we're here at the UCF men's basketball practice facility, and we talked to coaches and players about what expectations were for the season. And for some of these players, it's their last shot at an NCAA tournament and a conference title.
There's definitely a sense of urgency because there's no do-overs for me and Chad and Taco. I believe that every senior playing basketball in the country probably has that kind of sense of urgency because there's no time left.
But with some UCF careers ending, some are just beginning. And this one might be more special than the rest of them.
At first, I mean, when I was coming up, I never really thought about it, but the longer I've been here and the more time I've put into UCF and being, playing for my dad and whatnot, now it's all I can think about. You know what I'm saying? It's helping him out, helping the team out, and helping UCF out.
Aubrey had to sit out all of last year due to a shoulder injury. It's injuries like that one that halted UCF's momentum in the past.
Last year we had that early, and then we had to make some huge adjustments because guys went down one at a time and just really disrupted that.
The Knights, with a healthy team, are picked to finish at the top of the American, and B.J. Taylor's the AAC preseason player of the year. But Dawkins wants to focus on actual performance versus anticipated performance, and it starts with the team's impact left on the court.
How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to leave your legacy? And that's all we're about here at UCF. It's leaving your legacy. You want to leave it, the year better than the previous year, better than the previous teams. And the only way you can do that, even though it's their last year, is understanding that those guys can't do it by themselves.
In Orlando, Evan Abramson, UCF Nightly News.
The Knights open up play with an exhibition match against Flagler on October 29th at CFE Arena. Stay up to date with everything UCF basketball by following us on Twitter at UCF Nightly News. The women's soccer team lost 1-0 against the SMU Mustangs last night, yet the 19th ranked Knights are tied for second place in conference standings. The Knights outshot the Mustangs with 13 shots compared to 6 shots. Senior goalkeeper Vera Veras had 4 saves, and the Knights held the Mustangs until a late goal. The team has one more home game against Houston set for this Sunday at 1 p.m. It will be senior day and the last home game of the regular season. Head coach Tiffany Roberts-Hadak says she wants to put on a good game Sunday afternoon for senior day.
Guaranteed, so we want to make sure that our seniors feel great about the game, afterwards. So, we'll honor them and hopefully honor them by playing a good game.
Thanks to a head-to-head win over Memphis, the Knights sit just 3 points behind first place USF. The Knights end the regular season away in a Warren I-4 matchup against USF. Now back to you at the desk.
That's all the time for right now. Thank you for joining us. And remember, you can always keep up with us during the week by following our Twitter handle at UCF Nightly News.
And if you've got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynewsucf@gmail.com.
We'll see you next time.